Hello.
How are you? I'll be there in a sec.
Okay, I was like, you totally changed. That
I didn't shave this morning. I didn't shave this morning.
It doesn't look scary though.
That's a wombat.
So cute.
It's my consulting business is called Wombat.
Yeah, I remember.
I never remember what I tell one person versus another. How are you?
Good.
I saw something that somebody's got a problem with the plug or whatever.
Yeah, Tyson says the image of the plug is not really good. And he got into my head, and so now I'm like, man, I need to change it, I guess.
Yeah, it occurred to me when you shared it that might be the case. I don't think it's a huge one, but it's okay. I don't think it would be on the top 10 list of marketing terms.
Yeah.
Either, right? Like, so I don't think it would kill you if you were dead set on it, but if you're not,
yeah,
might not.
It's hard. It's so funny how like I can tell the energy, like, I'm not like as confident.
Yeah.
And so anything that is like a little negative, I'm like, oh, really? Okay, I guess. It's
all good.
Tough.
It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking good. I'll be there.
Thank you.
Wait till
are you changing or?
I got a little bit of a surprise. We'll see.
That's what I was thinking. That's awesome. Cannot wait.
I would not disappoint the Queen of Fun.
Thank you.
As a mushroom guy myself. It's all good, but no, it's a cool idea. I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I just have to do it somehow. But it's scary to raise that much money like this, with like as a Kickstarter and.
Well, and that's the thing that you should sort of focus on as the first thing, right? Because if you don't get the 30 grand, you don't get your yurt, probably, right?
Yes and no. I mean, it will just be delayed.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. So
now, are you going to create two videos? Like it seems like, are you going to create two videos, or what are you going to do?
Yeah. So just after this call, my friend, he's a video maker, and so he's going to. I think because I wanted to be short and sweet, 2 minutes is the max, I feel, to really hook people.
Right.
And it's hard for me in front of the camera to say what I want to say in only 2 minutes. I tend to take longer. So I'm going to do a voiceover. And then now, just after this call,
you're going to put some drone footage of your property kind of thing?
Exactly. Cool. Drone footage and me walking there, and that's it pretty much. Just simple.
You should probably do one little clip of you live, maybe walking on the site or doing something, and then the rest voiceover.
Yeah,
I think create a part of this is going to be trusting you, right?
Yeah.
So you should show up and maybe do the introduction or the close, and then the rest do voiceover.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I can do just a 10, 15 second clip of me live. And
then at the end, say thank you or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
I can't wait to go stay there.
Yeah, it's going to be really sweet. I mean, the location is just, it's so beautiful. And I know a lot of people that think it will be a great idea, and that want to participate and be hanging there. And something else as a benefit for the founders, I was thinking most retreats, they allow people to come only once per year. Yeah. They have a limitation because it's small or there's not many rooms. Right. And so maybe as a founder, we can give the priority to 3 times per year if they want to come back.
Well, and I think that's, because especially if you're just going to take sort of donations or whatever, mm-hmm. somebody that might donate might go, oh, I'll just do a donation later instead of donating. And so if they have like something that they want to do, but
Exactly.
I can't wait to come and stay. As a matter of fact, I will probably take, incentive bids between you and Elena to see who I go visit first.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, Costa Rica is on my list for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the things I want to kind of throw out there, whether on this meeting or in the group or whatever, is I would love for us to all be in the same place at the same time. And I imagine that might not be easy based on economics and locations and just basic different levels of freedom. And so I would assume that we would have to sort of point over the horizon, and I would love to start pointing over the horizon for that, and then figure out, like, start getting people committed to a time period, and then we can figure out the how and the what and the whatever. Yeah. And that when I worked at a friend's school, and when we did a school trip, that we did it in an interesting way so that people that were financially struggling a little bit wouldn't. Basically, we would give the trip, we would figure out all the costs for the trip and then divide it by the number of people and say, this is how much we need per person. And so please give what you're able to give towards it. And so some people would give, like, for 2 people or a person and a half or whatever. And then the people that couldn't would give what they could. And then we would look at, what if there was a difference at the end. Sometimes you end up with more money. Usually it wasn't a big problem. And either the school would cover or we put out a second thing. I don't know if we need to do that here.
But there's also, like, it seems, the commitment financially, depending on where it is, for someone like Miro or Mary to come, I guess, to the US right now, it would be impossible because I think you have to be fully vaccinated.
Come into the US?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's still a law. And so
there are going to be restrictions. A lot of places.
Yeah. So finding, like, a place that is technically doable, I guess. Yeah. And then, it's like for us to go to Costa Rica, I don't know, it's probably $500 or I don't know the flight, but from Europe, it's at least 2,000 euros or something.
Oh, it's going to be, and so, like, how do we share that burden, or the people? There are some of us that are more flush than others, and there's no judgment there, but there's obviously something to that. But I just want to kind of put that into the mix, because I don't think we can say, hey, let's meet up next week in Costa Rica. And so we do have to kind of start putting it out there and thinking it through in our flow state. Hi, Elena. Are you going to talk at all, or are you just going to hide in the back corner there?
I was just thinking, it sounds like, since we can't do it next week, it sounds like maybe 2 months we'll be in Europe. Done.
Okay, cool. There you go. I like the thinking. Are you in your normal home, or are you in someplace different?
I'm someplace different. Yeah, I decided to take a little work retreat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Gail, you were gonna say?
Yeah, Elena, for, like, what's your vision on Costa Rica? Are you going to stay for long term? For your timing to just, like, if we do decide on Costa Rica, like, do we have unlimited time to plan for it, or
Well, yeah, I feel like there's always unlimited time because we're learning a lot of great places here, and having connections and things like that. So whether we're here or not, if we decided as a group, like, this was the desired destination, we are definitely here through the end of this year.
Okay.
So as of right now, our plan is to be here through December, and we don't know. We came originally for 3 months, and then it became 6 months pretty quickly, and then it turned into 9 months really quickly, and now it'll be a total of probably at least 18. So that's really common. It seems like people come here to live, and then they get here and then they leave pretty quickly, or people come here to visit and then they end up staying long term. So we're just exploring kind of right now the possibilities and our desires and all that kind of thing. So yeah, if you want to come stay in our cabina, you got to come this year. Yeah, but I'm open to, I'm open to any possibility. I mean, obviously, Costa Rica is new and exciting to us, so of course I want to share it with everyone. And I know it doesn't really matter where we get together. I would be just as excited for us to congregate in France or Germany or Croatia, So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I like it, Dean. I appreciate your nudge for us not to be just talking about it, but to.
Yep.
Yep. Ow!
Where has Dean gone? Because Badass just walked in.
He hit the road. He's out.
I like the look, man. I really
love the
do.
tough face along with. Oh my God.
I just walked from 300 miles ride.
Yeah, rough riding. Get your motor running. Oh
yeah. It fits you really well. It is actually pretty incredible, the difference, but it fits you really well.
Who's got the beer?
Sorry. Wow.
That so good.
Cool. That is really cool. So now, is it your look to go to a grocery store and anywhere?
Sure. Sure.
That's awesome, dude.
And Gail, that was for you. That was for you. I am going to take this off. It weighs a ton.
Too hot.
It weighs a ton.
So good.
Wow.
Oh no, we should have taken a picture for the others to put in the WhatsApp.
Well, we do have a video.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can grab a still from it. Maybe I can.
Yeah, doing a snapshot of it.
Or I can probably even clip a little bit out of it and save it as a separate thing. Did you hear the motorcycle come in?
Totally did.
Okay. For sure.
All right. Well, you just kept talking like it was normal to have a motorcycle drive through the call. It was awesome.
I love it. Did you feel different? Like when you had all that on, did you feel the different feeling?
Absolutely.
I could feel it. So
I have a whole Batman costume that if I put that on, I start talking. Where is she? Where is she? I start pulling that, and yeah, absolutely. I very much believe in avatars and other things like that. Mm-hmm. I think it's really powerful.
I love it. It's so good.
It's incredible how the power of dressing up and in playing, it feels so real to play this avatar, and then we really get into this persona, just the way we're dressed. It's so, yeah.
Well, and I do think there's a power to even the smallest thing, right? Like put on a certain watch, and now you got your Rolex diver watch, and now you're Mr. Businessman. Or I have one of my bracelets. One of them has words on it, and one of it has the name Rocco, and Rocco is a Navy SEAL, and Rocco is who comes along with me to the gym. And when I go swimming, Rocco does the swimming. And if I want to quit or do something different, Rocco's like, we don't leave people behind. There's no quit. And so there is a great power, I believe. And I learned this back I started a private school when I was in 8th grade, and it was coat and tie. And the rationalization for that is kids pay more attention if they're not in their pajamas or whatever else, right? There's a value to that. So I'm very much into that. I also wrote in on the motorcycle because Miro said that he's probably not going to be here. Okay. Jared's in, he needs to work out before a thing. Jared's in Hawaii, and we have not heard much from Miss Marie.
She just sent a message. I just saw a message. She has a migraine, and I couldn't read it because I'm on my phone, but she's not going to join. She has a migraine and she needs to lay down.
Okay. So
she's okay.
I looked at the clock. It was like 7 after. Okay, I think it's just us.
Yeah.
So
bring in the motorcycle.
bring in the motorcycle. It was time to do it.
Well, it's, I think, too much energy. Like they were not ready for you yet. Your new you, your
there's
real
that.
you.
That's,
It was just a little too intense for them.
well,
Just can't handle it.
Miro and Jared are kind of not that tough. So I can imagine they would be threatened by somebody that can break boards and ride a motorcycle. I'm sure that they're probably just they may not even be aware of the resistance. And so we should embrace them and see them, not see them as broken.
Yeah, it's kind to not threaten their masculinity.
Well, that's why I kind of normally just dumb it down and try to fit in. That's what society does.
But apparently it attracted Elena and I.
Hey,
magically,
it works.
Hey, what's amazing is that early this morning, the power went out. And I'm out remote. I can't get like anywhere where there would be other Wi-Fi. And so I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to make it. And I won't be able to let anybody know. So it would be after the fact. And then it was like just moments, like the clock was just around 9 o'clock for me. And it came back on. And so I was meant to be here to experience.
Do you not have cellular? So you have to live totally on Wi-Fi. Cellular doesn't exist where you are?
Oh no, it does exist. I just don't have it.
Okay. It's perfectly fine, reasonable. No judgment here. Gail,
that's awesome.
She doesn't have cellular. Cellular.
And I'm testing out being different than the average population.
So one thing we could do while other people aren't here is decide things.
Great.
So
next month, Croatia.
There we go. Croatia. Oh, yeah. Like Dubrovnik is beautiful, and there's like probably many other beautiful places in Croatia. But I was also thinking, like, I'm not sure I want to share, on your property where you're staying, Elaine. I'm not sure I want to share my little house with everybody. So like that's just not right. Like I'm not that kind of guy. I need my room. And so
it'd be cozy.
But so I would think that it would be really cool to get like an Airbnb or rent a house for a week and just freaking rock it. Just take over the neighborhood. And
you mean when we all get together?
Yeah. Yes. Not when Uncle Dean shows up to teach your kids how to wreak havoc upon your life. But yeah, when all of us come down, bringing our tequila with us.
Got it. Love it.
So start searching out.
What is the best season to, like, I don't know if there's like a rainy season in Costa Rica, or what are the...
Well, Dean says he's only coming when it's unbearably hot. So
okay.
Because I've got the skin for lots of stuff. I was going to ask you, Elena, do you do anything special with all the sun there? I mean, I'm assuming that it's pretty powerful. Or you don't seem to, you have some color, but you don't seem to burn or whatever else. Do you do anything because of where you're living?
I have to limit the amount of time I spend in the sun. I am pasty white. This is me being tan, y'all.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I have to limit. My family doesn't. All of my Jacques and the girls all have really lovely sun-friendly skin. So yeah, I'm more cautious with how much time I'm in the sun. I also do have to put sunscreen on my face when I'm out for a long time because I tend to burn really fast. And what's been amazing though is I really have felt, like our bodies are so adaptable. I was out for 2 hours yesterday on a long walk, and I've done this multiple times. A couple times I've ended out, I got into some situations I didn't plan on, and so I ended out much longer than I anticipated, and no sunscreen, no nothing, and I've been okay. A part of that is getting into shade, and I really feel like my body has adapted some.
You also have a little bit of a base in there, so it's not like the first thing out of the sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have a base going. There's a lot of things we can do nutritionally, so I'm always working to up that game as far as what helps sort of the natural internal
If
sunscreen. So,
if someone would hurry up with a way to plan those meals and that nutrition for you, it would probably work out better.
oh, Dean, you know what is so amazing? Because the power was out and I couldn't do the things I had planned to do this morning, I
Yeah.
was like, well, one thing that I can do is sit down and write out my menus for a couple of days. So
Awesome.
I totally did that. And then I put little stars on it for like, oh, this is where I would need to plan. And so I'm ready to log 4 menus.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm so excited.
I will.
So get your motor running.
Hey, I've got places to go, people to see. If I got time, I'll put you in there.
Right.
I'm not just going to bow to everybody's whims and what I need to do for them.
Yeah, I respect you more for that.
I'll get right on it. I'm sorry I'm late. Okay, cool. Well, and I have a redheaded sister that gets tanner than I do. Just saying. That's where I sit on the tanning spectrum. So, but yeah, let's figure out when's the good season though.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I really don't think that there's a bad season. Right now, it's dry season, and so the water is more lovely because it's not all churned up because of the rain. It's easier to go out and do excursions because you don't have to worry about torrential downpours coming, right? The flip side of that is a lot of places are very brown and it's very dry. So in the wet season, it's lush, it's green, it feels so like jungle alive. And to me, like most of us here are now longing for the rain to come. We got an early rain and we were like kind of like the first snow, like yay. So in rainy season, it's just wetter. So places to go out and have excursions are muddy. At 2:00, where we live, at least 2:00, there's a torrential downpour that can last anywhere from 10 minutes to a couple hours. I mean, it's not so hard for a couple hours, but lots of rain, and so like, I don't know. I think if we
can handle it, whatever it is.
It's not the
all
limiting
beautiful
factor. Yeah, it seems like it's not the limiting factor, and it's actually really adaptable, and we'll find something great for any season.
Right. It's not like us saying, hey, we want to spend time in the warm sun, and then we choose to go to Breckenridge, Colorado in January, right? Where we're going to be in tons and tons of snow, so yeah, it's
is there a lot of mosquitoes, or a season when there are more bugs or less bugs, or bugs an issue there?
Well, I feel like with moisture, with wetness tends to come bugs. We haven't experienced a ton of problems. I mean, it depends on, bugs seem to be different by location as well. If we're imagining being on a beach house, where we're out at the coast, like we're not going to have a lot of problems with that. Up where we are, there's not a ton of problems because we're up in elevation.
It would be fun to think of what activities would this group do. I mean, we've already got tequila, wine drinking, cigar smoking, and just flowing, right? Like those are clearly on the list. I'm wondering what else.
I think we might have a hard time getting up from the round table of discussion.
Yeah. It might be the flow is just no planning and just go for walks and I wonder.
There's
love, for me, like personally, I would love to do like good hikes in nature and see some wildlife and some adventure.
I'm kind of feeling cuddle puddle.
Yeah.
I realize
only if you're in your black coat.
I was going to say, I realize I can't really wear these and say cuddle puddle, but
you just have to do it with that tude you had. You had the like rough face going on. You're like, right now, cuddle puddle.
Everybody, cuddle puddle right here.
Bring it in.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but anyway, we're talking about Costa Rica, but I just want to keep throwing out there that, as far as what's possible for us as a group.
Oh, you just disappeared.
No, we can see you. You didn't disappear.
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
Yeah, you're back.
My voice disappeared. I muted myself. Yeah, I mean, I really genuinely, the flip side for me is that I'm here and I get to be here and enjoy it, you know, and I love to travel. So the idea to get to go someplace that I haven't been is also really, really exciting too, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like as we look at maybe time frame, you know, like where it makes sense for everybody, then also seeing like what that means seasonally.
Yeah,
and such.
maybe start by this. Maybe starting by when can we carve a week out?
Is a week the appropriate? And one of the things while you guys were talking is I know I said week, but a week is the appropriate time period even.
Yeah, it might be a little shorter. Like Americans don't tend to have a lot of vacation.
Well, I think if you look at the Americans in the crew, I mean, I think.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I guess he decides probably on how to handle. For me, I'm pretty flexible. I mean, I take 5 weeks. Still, it's not that much. And like when I spend like 3 weeks in France, and like I have.
It goes quickly.
Yeah, it goes quickly.
When I worked at a school, I was technically in an admin and not faculty. So I worked in the summer and we would get a month off in the summer, basically the summer being roughly 2 months, you'd get a month off. But because I was doing the database and publishing what was called the Blue Book, which was the outcome of the majority of the database work, I didn't get 4 weeks off. And usually I was grabbing a week here and a week there and in between. And sometimes too, I discovered that 3 weeks, when you get 3 weeks of time off and you can put that together, you forget you have a job.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like 2 weeks or less, you're kind of like, it takes you 4 days to get out of the job and 4 days at the end of it worrying back to get into it. And so like your time is kind of short in that, but 3 weeks, you get through that, whatever, you're not thinking work. You're like, that to me is my personal, like, I'm totally, I have a job. Yeah.
It's actually, so in France, they companies forbid people to take more than 3 weeks, because the 4th week they quit. It's like, it's kind of known as the 3 weeks is like resting enough, but still you're attached to it and you still remember that you have a job and you should go back to it. But at 4 weeks, you're gone. You're completely gone. You discover another way of life. And I know my company forbids people to take more than, but we all tend to take 3 weeks at a time, and it's amazing. It makes a huge difference compared to 2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk's personal assistant actually came to him, and she was like his right-hand person for 15, like a lot of years, 15 years, something like that. And she came and asked him for a raise, and he was kind of like, all right. His response was, okay, I want you to go take 2 weeks off. And she had like never taken a vacation or take a month off or something like that. And when she came back, he fired her because when she was gone, he realized he didn't really miss her. And because she asked for a raise, that put that question in his head: do I really need her? Am I, because my assumption was, I think his assumption was, yes, I really need her. But when she was gone and sort of out of sight, she realized, which is what people are doing with their 4 weeks off. They're like, I don't really need that job. But yeah, Elon Musk is a unique individual. I appreciate that. Like, he never thinks linear, I can't even say it, in a straight line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's fascinating. I feel like in the States, there's not much concern, I guess, about that, because people very rarely would take more than a week off, much less 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Exactly. I remember Tyson, to keep up with all my vacations for the jobs when he was employed, he will always go, he's like, so, the whole month of December, I'm going to be in France and I would love to come back here after that. And the boss was like, so are you taking a vacation? Like,
are you quitting or are you taking a vacation?
Yeah, he's like, well, it's just that I know I have only 1 week because I've been here for only a year. And I'm taking 4 weeks, at a time, and would love to come back. And each time they would be like, sure, okay, cool. But it's just like so empowering way of asking for 4 weeks. He wasn't paid for those 4 weeks, but still he pretty much did whatever he wanted. And it was interesting because it was upstate New York, and over there, like, it was not like, they've never seen that before, the bosses, and they were just, yeah, okay, sure, but like they just had to say yes. But it was pretty interesting.
Gail, that totally speaks to a place that's near and dear to my heart these days, and that is boundaries. Right? Basically saying, this is my line. I'll see you in 4 weeks. If you want me back, I'll come back. I'd love to come back. But if not, thanks for the time. I mean, it's very empowered.
Yeah. And when it comes from such a grounded place of, this is what I've decided, and this is my power, and it's interesting, the answer in front is like, oh, I'm not used to this. This is a little shocking, but yeah, sure. Like, it's this power is, yeah, it's rare in people to experience it, but it's when we start experiencing it, it didn't feel like he was an asshole. Like, most of the people would say, oh, I would never do this because I would, step out of my boundaries and just like be asking so, too much. But if you feel really, no, this is what I deserve, this is what I want, like, it's just naturally, yes, okay, like, no problem.
I think you sort of get into yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of so many people that had been really wanting to work from home, and their company said no, 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 and then COVID happened, and then so many people were working from home, and companies were like, oh, this works for a lot of reasons, just like, oh, the expansion into more possibility, right? Just through either claiming our own personal power to make it happen, or letting circumstances dictate it for us. But so much possibility.
Yeah, and the people that lease office space are not enjoying it.
Yeah,
right. There's possibility there for them too, though. I do
somewhere there is.
I think they should organize dance parties. There's not enough dance party areas around the States.
I think we should bring Marie over, and she could help foster some dance parties and dinner parties and stuff.
It reminds me, like, recently the Tyson's cousin wanted to kind of retire, like, tired of his job, and so he went to his boss and he's like, hey, I think I'm going to leave. And they were like, well, can we find something else? And he's like, well, here's my ideal world. I take 2 times 10 weeks break. And they were like, oh, this is fantastic. Yes. And it was really interesting because in his mind, his limitation was, they'll never accept this. So I just have to quit completely because I want to travel now. And actually him expressing exactly what he wanted, he's like, well, my ideal world would be that twice a year I take 10 weeks off. And it fitted perfectly the company somehow, even if it's completely different than a normal work organization. And it's interesting to realize that, again, like, when we express our truth or what we really want, like, sometimes actually we don't think about the possibilities. We just limit ourselves first and don't dare to ask. But there's a lot more opportunities or ways of realizing what we want, I feel like.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I was just semi-thinking about that yesterday. I had gone out for a big walk, and I was coming back here where I'm staying, which is this really cool little container house, which is really popular in Costa Rica. And I was just marveling at the way it played out. I wanted to come Wednesday, but usually check-in times are in the afternoon, right? But my whole point was to come and work. And so I wanted to be here all day so I could maximize Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so I just, it's like, I feel like I could have hesitated or finagled some way, like, oh, I'll get the night before, I'll see if I can book that. So then blah, 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 and pay more. And so I just wrote the lady and just, like, really basically said, I'd love to come is it possible for me to check in the morning, because here's what I'm going to be doing, right? And like, she wrote back, what time would you like to check in so I can see if it's possible? And I felt myself hesitate with like, oh, maybe I should wait and say 11 or 12 because I know check-in's 3, but I'm like, no, really what I want is to be able to be there by 9, right? And so I just said, 9 would be ideal if it's possible. And she wrote me back and she's like, well, in the meantime, somebody else has already booked the one that you were looking at. So let me see what I can do. And then she ended up putting me in a bigger place for the same price and letting me come at the exact time I wanted.
Wow.
But just like that, like, I mean, it's such a simple thing, right? Just put out there what you desire and then sort of detach, right? Like, I'm not in control of it. So let's just see, and then just let it unfold and watch how things actually fit into place perfectly.
And what is the label I would put on that, because we have to label everything as we do, is negotiating against yourself. But it is such a common thing, right? Like it's so, oh, they'll never pay me that much, so I'll like, why do you assume that? And it just like, is it a self-worth issue? Is it a self-love issue? What, like, where does that come from? Why do
internal stories limiting belief that keeps us down and doubting, and it's why it's so important to, I love this word calibrating, from Abraham Hicks, like calibration, calibrating to your own truth. So then you're in this little bubble, your body, like for me, I visualize the body really slippery. So anything that comes to you, it just slides out if it doesn't feels and resonates with you. And once you calibrate to your own vibration and of who you want to be or feel you want to be, then you stay like, then you ask something and it's like, oh yeah, of course, this is actually easier for me and it works better.
Well, and the thing is, Elena, you're the person you're renting from or whatever it is, was going to have an empty place, right? If you didn't do it. Right. So it's like, why not? Sure. Like it's not really costing her. She's making money on the deal. Right. Like, so it's it's the proverbial win-win that if you're not, honest with what you want, like, do both of you lose? I don't know, but it is really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so amazing. Like, oh gosh, so much. I feel like there's both the internal, like the limiting beliefs, right? And there's also the external. There's the ways of thinking and being that I've taken on, right, from others. And so I'm just thinking we can also activate that in others. I feel like had I sent the message with a lot of wishy-washiness, a lot of, well, I'd like it like this, but really it's okay. And, I can just come at noon if that would work better, right? It would have activated that limitation in her as well, which would have been like, oh, well, okay, yeah, let's do that. Or now it's not even possible, right? Versus like, just clear, like, this is what I desire. This is the ideal. And then just seeing. And so there's so much here. God, Gail, I was, as you were saying that, like visualizing, like being slippery, right? And letting things fall off. It sort of like had me think, I have a girlfriend that does these meditations where she like walks you through like a screen that sort of comes through and sort of collects old stuff and sort of pulls it out. It was just making me think of that too, because some of it isn't what's coming in at me now. It's what came at me and I collected a long time ago. If I think about talking to certain people in my life, like, hey, what do you think? Is this possible? Like the first response would be like, oh no, don't try, right? A lot of blockage, right? And so like being able to clear that out. And then like you're saying, Gail, calibrate to what's true, which I don't know, for me, what's true is like limitless possibility, right? Through clarity.
Yeah, but you just brought your power to bear in the space. I mean, and that started well before you even thought that that's what you needed. Like when you created the idea of your retreat or whatever it is, I mean, you had the clarity of purpose to say, this is what I want. And that power just kept going in the flow of it. Plug. And presented itself to your host. And they're like, that power feels good to me.
And as you say, Elena, the wishy-washy, I really need to calibrate before I express it, on a video with no wishy-washy. Oh, and, if you cannot, help this project at this level, it's okay, it's not disempowering the project.
You're looking for committed participants that want to engage fully in the helping of others through their whatever blah blah blahs. Yes.
Yeah. And empowering them to, not everyone has a lot of land, not everyone has a lot of energy to build something new, but a lot of people would love to follow a project like this, follow a leader or something new for mental health and mental exhaustion.
Do you already have a yurt on your property? Do I remember hearing that? No? Okay. I remember some yurt talk at some point. Yeah, because I'm like, some people may not even know what a yurt is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Gail, it makes me think of like coming with the energy of this is the most important thing for our community, right? Whether it's our local community or a global community, because it's open. This is the most important thing. And so not only do I want you to be considering how you can contribute, but how you can enroll others to contribute as well. Like sort of that, not necessarily you would say that, but just the energy of that, right? Like, it's a powerful idea that wouldn't go away. Like it's really important. And
Elena,
that's exciting.
So beautiful and powerful, right? Not only engaging someone directly, but also challenging them to engage deeper by bringing other people on board. I did a challenge with some guy, and the first thing he said is find somebody that needs this challenge and have him come and be accountability people or buddies and the whatever. And it's three-dimensional chess. It's beautiful.
Yeah, because your energy is going to attract some people that resonate at the same level and see how important in this thing like this project is. And if they're asked to think also about who would be interested too, it will expand to bring people that are on the same level. And so it's really, for me, it's really challenging because, I've never done this, and it's touching, it's asking for money, which is for me extremely weird. But at the same time, I've gone over and over this. Okay, if I invest myself, it can happen. It will happen in 1 or 2 years, the time to save the money to do it. But it's just me. Like there's no energy power like supporting this project. So I'm just me. And then I want to share it with people, but it has so much less power to say, hey, you know what? Just build a yurt. Like if you want to use it, it's really flat. Like there's no ground and foundation of this energy of people driven by a vision of helping others and supporting the community to just peace out for a moment. And so
Gail,
it's why,
excuse me, Gail. I was wondering, our viewers may not be familiar with this project, and I was wondering if you'd like to outline it for them so that they can understand what we're seeing and they can jump on the bandwagon, and maybe we can even put some information in here when we have it available and they can participate. Would you like to share with our audience?
Of course. So either I read what I wrote or I'll just say it. Boom, 2 minutes. So it started all in 2021 when after a whole year of COVID, and I have a family of 2 boys and I'm married. And I was completely mentally exhausted because so many changes in my life, like a lot of us, and we have to adapt. But so in order to adapt, I needed to isolate, to think, and to reconnect to myself, to really know what the hell I was going to do. and with those new pieces in my life. And so I left for a whole week on a retreat in up in the mountains by myself in nature. And the experience was so profound that right away I connected to exactly this clarity of what I needed to do and restored all my energy. I came back really rejuvenated and such like a lighthouse for my family. It felt so good for everyone. And I realized that this was really hard to get access to in my town in Fort Collins. Other retreats are extremely expensive, or they're far away, or they're, taking a tent and go in the woods can be really scary because we have bears and mountain lions and all that. And so I realized that I own a property of 40 acres north of Fort Collins, and I could do that here. So
and
here
where
the
is,
idea
excuse me, where is Fort Collins?
Fort Collins, Colorado, north of Denver, Colorado, an hour north. And so, so here the idea was born. Really, I call it the Beacon, I think, and it's a yurt about 16 feet in diameter. Very rustic. There's just a wood stove. There's some water to get access, but no running water, outhouse. And it's a sort of glamping. So you're fully immersed in nature, isolated from the rest of the world, but still very close to a house in case you hear a bear coming, and you have to do a little walk to get in. So it's like a 5-minute walk. It's not much, but it gives you this immersion in nature to really unplug from your busy life and really found your clarity. And so either you're just overwhelmed or mentally exhausted, or you just want a day to read alone without your kids screaming at you, or you are looking for deeper answers, you come there for 2 to 3 nights. And the magic of it is that it's funded by a team that is really aware and care for mental health and mental space, and wanted to create this with me. So we crowdfunded this project with a bunch of people, and the founders have access to, in priority, to the Beacon. But they also are able to come back up to 3 times a year instead of only once if it's someone that didn't come. There's an option to come by yourself in isolation, or there's an option to come and be guided by me as a life coach to use new tools, maybe like meditation or journaling, to really know how to reconnect to yourself and find all the answers inside. So yeah, this is pretty much what's the project, the Beacon.
Awesome. And
do you understand it well, or is it like messy, or yeah?
So you're in the looking for volunteers to participate or donate?
Yeah. So the first step is to raise, to crowdfund and kickstart the project. So we're looking for $30,000 for the material of the yurt and the deck to build it this year. And the people that will be the founders, they will have access to 1 up to 3 nights. Some people at a higher level of investment have access to organize events like sound healing or yoga day or meditation day. And then after that, people will have access to it for a low participation fee, or that is, if you're really broke, you don't have to pay it. But it's something really a space for the community after that to use as they need.
Powerful and beautiful. Thank you, Gail.
It is. Gail, I just had this. I have a huge mosquito after me right now after talking about bugs. Crazy. Gail, I just, maybe you likely already thought about this, and it just struck me that as a part of collecting the funds, it would be so epic to host events that are in line with
this. Landed on your shoulder. Oh, okay.
This whole philosophy. You saw it? It's big. You know, like I know you've done events like that up there, sound healing and having
Yeah.
musicians come up, but maybe even online, you know, just like, man, I know that people love to give, and I also know that people love to get. And so, like, when
Mhm.
there's opportunities to participate in a half day
Yeah.
meditation experience, whether it's in person or online with you, and they know not only do they get the experience, but what they give is going to
Yeah.
that specific, you know, like it feels like a way to really expand the community, being involved in the giving part
It's a
and the
really great
creation of it.
idea. Maybe the next concert, I think it's probably going to happen in May, but bring that. If we didn't raise the full amount yet, to bring that up at a concert, or looking for a sound healer to come, and it's a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm willing to
Yeah.
speak for those people that aren't here and for the two of you and say, if someone donates $5,000 to the yurt, that they will be able to come on and be a guest on the flow of it, in the flow of it. They can join us.
Woo! So lucky.
Come on, donors. Come on, donors.
Hey, you know who you are. You know who you are. You heard me. We would love to have you. It'll be a lot of fun. And we would appreciate your participation.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
So fun. It's beautiful, Gail. I really love this vision. And, you know, you were saying kind of when you started just how, you know, your inspiration is to include community, to be involved in the creation of it, because it doesn't make sense for it to just be you, like, hey, I did this thing. And I get that on the very physical level, that actually requires more people involved. But I think it's really potent to recognize that right from the beginning, this was never you on your own, because you shared with us that this was an idea that came to you and wouldn't go away, an idea, right? And to me, that's the partnership with source, right? Source energy, like just sort of helping, like draw, like this is where your energy is, you know, aligned. It's coming back for a reason. And so it's so fun to think of this project being so intentionally marinated in that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what,
Mm-hmm.
I just think that that's what is generated. And then anybody that participates becomes a part of that
Yeah.
flow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm just a facilitator. I'm just like, I heard that idea and it just sticks. And even if I want to avoid it because it takes a part of me that is really uncomfortable with raising money for it, it's just, it won't leave me alone. So it's like, okay, I guess I have to do it. I'll do it, do the work to bring awareness about this project and create it. And I still don't know, which is beautiful. It's like in my life, if I look at me, there's no real reason. Like, it's really, it doesn't make sense. This is not a priority in my life right now. However, because it's obsessing and it's coming back, I'm like, well, I guess I'll just have to go with the flow of it and do it, and we'll see what happens. But I think what is going to happen is way bigger than anything I can imagine. And it's because it's going to be bringing new people and a community that is going to make it flourish and make it and create it what the space, what ultimately it had to become. But I have no part of it. I'm just the initiator that heard some messages to do it. But whoever is going to come part of this project, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it's going to be big. Like, I just feel it. It's why, like, I have to do it. It will be interesting to see, because anyone coming into this project is going to bring ideas, bring connections, and so, yeah, who knows?
I love that you can feel that, because as you speak about that, Gail, I feel that transmitted to me, which sort of highlights that in the collecting the funds part of it, like it's really not asking for money, right? That's such a solo way to go back to think about it, that, oh, now I have to ask for all the money, versus it really feels like by you taking the steps, and the next step is clearly to collect the funds to make it happen, that it's truly an invitation to all of us to be a part of this thing that isn't even you, right? This thing that's coming through you. Like you said, we all don't have 40 acres of property, yet we have big hearts for community, and we have big hearts for the belief in people, and all of us getting to expand more and more, so this is like an invitation into contributing in the ways that feel that same energy of alignment. And I keep thinking about it, and I just can't not. I've got to, I've got to be a part of it in whatever way is coming up for me, and for
And
many people that'll be financially.
What's interesting is that it's like on a deeper level, what I'm hearing is the land screaming at me, come on, like it's screaming at me, come on, get me, it's your time, like come here and live here. Because it was really not, we didn't have this plan to buy this land. And it was just like, and we felt with my husband, the house wants to have fun. And it's why it invited us. And it's like, it doesn't make sense, right? On the rational level, it's like the house calling you to have fun because it's bored to death with the people that owned the house before. And so right away, we put a disco ball in the living room and we never removed it. But yeah, my husband and I are like, I know it's weird, but this house just loves to have fun. And the same way the land is asking to have events, concert, the land is asking for this yurt. It's really, and in a deeper level, like we know that there was a lot of ceremonies here from Native Americans. And so there's something special here. And it's why the land brought us to here. And I don't think I'm grabbing yet the full extent of what this is going to become. I know a lot of people when they came to the concert, at least 3 had like completely crazy experience of on the spiritual level, talking to people that died in their life. And so it was, yeah, something is happening. So I'm just, all right, I'm just here for the ride to do it, to make it happen. But it's definitely challenging me on a ego side, to do those things. Yeah.
In my work with nonprofits, we're often talking about donors and donations and collecting money and doing all of that. And at times there's sort of talk by some people is like, yeah, people are just throwing their money at things to feel good. And there is sort of a passivity to it, versus going to work in a soup kitchen or volunteering or whatever else. And you're not asking for money, you're asking for power partners to see the power of your vision and the vision of the land and the homestead. And community in it, and to not passively just throw money, but really, I mean, and certainly if that's all they want to do, that's acceptable. But I think you're speaking so much more powerfully, and in so much more of a magical place that this isn't, just a dollar. This is a statement. It's a thing. It's magic. It's powerful. And like, why would you not want to partner and get on board with this? And it is amazing that your vision and going with the flow of it is just going to keep, it's a snowball rolling down a big old hill, getting bigger all the time.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story with us, Gail, about how you came to be in your place on the land, and then what you're feeling coming from the land right now. Because the word that I hear is purpose. It makes me think like, beyond us wanting just to be happy, so many of us are here and we feel in struggle if we don't feel like we know our purpose, man's search for meaning. And you just made me think like, because we are nature, right? We're not just humans here in nature, but we are a part of nature. You just opened my whole mind to like, yeah, everything here has purpose. Like you're feeling your land has purpose, and it's like clamoring, help me get to live my purpose and to be connected to it that way. So like I would go even beyond having power partners in this case, like, partners in fulfilling purpose, fulfilling the purpose of the land.
And what is the purpose is healing. It's like the word that comes to me, this land is for healing. It's what we've experienced ourselves by living here, but in the community aspect, it's really, yeah, I think when you open to it and when you come and you hike here around and see the beauty of this place, you find your healing in a way. And it's why the land is talking to me and is asking me to bring more people here. So weird. And so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you guys
Courageous.
for giving me this opportunity to talk more about it and find deeper purpose.
I'm curious as to who our $5,000 donor is going to be.
Can't wait to meet this person.
They are
people will. So another added, you can run naked on the land if you give. I mean, some people.
That's at 10,000. 10,000.
10,000 is the naked run if you want to.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
15. If you give 15, you get to come on our show naked.
And
YouTube will never show it. Don't worry about it, but we'll hang out with you naked.
And you can probably stay for up to 2 months, living in a rustic.
And if you give 30,000, you can name the yurt whatever you want.
Yeah, because I mean, it's pretty much yours. I guess you can just move in with us.
Now it's getting bigger than you could ever have imagined.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I said that because I'm sitting here thinking there's a whole bunch of people that have 30,000 that they probably be willing to give to this if they just heard about it. If they just felt, the power, the energy and the story of this crossed their path. There's a lot of people that would write a check immediately for this.
Do you like the idea that when you come, there's a little box where you have to put all your devices with a key and you symbolically disconnect from the busy to force yourself to really be detached, from the hyper connection because I think it's cloud, it gives you the sense of being connected, but actually you disconnected from yourself when we're so connected on the internet. And then the door says, well, whoever you are, we had you in mind when we founded this project and the list of all the people that funded it to say you're not alone. And you might feel disconnected, you might feel alone and very isolated, but you're not, because whoever you are, this is for you that we did that.
Perfect. Perfect.
I love it.
Before we go,
I love all of it.
No, go ahead.
I got to scoot quick. Scoot quick. You were going to say real quick, Dean?
I was just going to ask Gail to share about her earrings. They're gorgeous, but.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll catch the replay. Love you guys.
Nothing special.
Like warming up. Awesome stuff, Gail.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
I love you. Bye-bye.
See ya.